Is China going to war, and how is it going to affect our economy? It can affect our economy, everybody. So listen up. It can affect our real estate. It can affect our stock market. It can affect your life individually. It can affect commodities, prices. And the big question is, are they going to go to war, and how is it going to affect us if they do? So I spoke about this probably, geez, I don't know, 6-9 months ago. And I was explaining to you guys what was happening in China. And, you know, with the Evergrande project, everything that was happening is based on the inefficiency of how they were running their economics with real estate and banking. And so they have one investor that invests in single family home development. And I don't know if you guys remember the old Murdoch issue that happened way back when. When did, the 2008, when the recession hit. When Bernie Murdoch went and had his big Ponzi scheme, and was taking private capital and to the public sector, and had a huge Ponzi scheme, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in American history. And he spent prison time. His son hung himself, and it was just a mess. And one of the big things that China's doing is almost exactly what Bernie Murdoch did back in the and when he got caught back in 2000, I think it was 2009 that he got caught. And it's one of the world's strongest economies, and the mass majority of China's economy is invested in this one developer. And so it's affecting them, all their banking systems, it's affecting everything that they're doing. And so if they go under, it's going to affect the Chinese economy. And not only is it going to affect the Chinese economy, there'll be some ripple effect in the United States as well. Why? Because some of our financial institutions have money tied up in funds and investments with China. And so understand that when you guys are sitting back and you're thinking about a recession, okay, which you can't count, are we in a recession? Well, you know, yes and no. In a textbook fashion, we are. But you know, there's a lot of other signs on the writing on the wall that say that we're not in a recession. Now, people listen to mainstream media. That's the first problem. And when they listen to mainstream media and they're looking at what's happening on ABC, CBS, and all these other networks, people sit back and they panic because they're listening to that garbage. I don't know. I live in my own little bubble. My wife always tells me, she goes, Jerome, she goes, you live in your own little world. I say, I know, I love my own little world because I don't listen to any of that bullshit and all that garbage everybody else is listening to, because I'm looking at real stuff. I'm not an ostrich that has my head in the sand and I'm naive to what's going on. I know what's going on around me. In fact, I know what's going on around me because of what I read, real data, not bullshit that's being publicized for viewings for people to get emotional that are driving on your guys' emotions. And so 97% of our population is emotionally driven. I want to be knowledge-based driven. I don't want to be emotionally driven. I want to know what's going on. I want facts. I want data. I want numbers. I want to know the shit that's really going on, instead of some bullshit that's trying to pull ratings so that I on a network that functions on commercials, right? I want. Yeah. I'm here at the 10X office. I'm with Grant. Me, Cody Sperber, we got a bunch of us down here, man. All the big influencers are down here. Pulled a room of 40 of us, of the top influencers, and we got a little secret up our sleeves, some stuff that we're all working on together. We're doing a huge collaborative deal together. So in spite of all this stuff that I'm talking about in the video, PS by the way, none of us do business worried about this stuff. Do we know it can affect our business? Yes, but we all collaborate. We position our businesses to succeed. And so we have a lot of growth stuff happening for this year, and there's a lot of big machine collaboration going on in that room right now. And so we're excited about it, and you're going to see some really cool stuff being pumped out here with a lot of mixed collaboration between a lot of us influencers. Anyways, don't forget to pound and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and pound that thumbs up button for more information just like this. So let's get back on the China thing, right? Let's get back on this recession, the China stuff. So look, ladies and gentlemen, here's what China's done. Their banking systems have funded single-family home development. And what they're doing is they go and get all these houses started. Millions of homes all over China are going up under construction. And then what's happening is as these homes are being constructed, they're not getting finished. And so they're taking non-refundable deposits from homeowners, just like you guys. And what they're doing is they're funding more projects to get more homes out of the ground because there's such a housing crisis out in China, and there's just not enough homes. They can't even fulfill the housing crisis. Same thing's going on in the United States, but in a multiplier in China. And so one of the big things is that they've been taking all this capital and not completing these homes. There's a bunch of unfinished homes, and they're running it almost like a Ponzi scheme, where they're not delivering the houses, they're not getting finished, investors are not getting money back, and now notes are coming due, bonds are coming due, and China can't produce the revenue to be able to pay, the developer cannot produce the revenue to pay back the investors and the debt. And so now China as an economy, because the mass majority of their money and their banks are invested in this one company, you guys are, it has the potential of affecting our entire economy, their entire economy, and we will see ripple effect here, even in the United States. So anyways, if you do have investments, if you have stocks, if you're invested in real estate, you guys know the real estate investment game. You guys know how important it is not to commingle assets and debt. And that's one of the big things. Don't be commingling assets and debt. Don't be drawing from one project to fund another, because see, they were taking investors' capital. They'd start one house, but then they would take a deposit on the house and they would deploy that money from that house into other houses to get started. It's illegal. So people got indicted for that back in 2008. That's where like the CFPB got implemented in 2009. It was to protect against the banks, and they put parameters and guidelines on the banks. And so, so you guys, as individuals, what we have to understand is that in the United States, there are some of these parameters, and I'm not going to sit back and say whether the CFPB is a good thing or a bad thing. I think there's good things about it, but like every governmental agency, there's a lot of bad things about it, because it's intentionally, when it's first put together, I think it's put together with a good intent, and then things get leveraged and things get manipulated along the process. And so one of the big components, one of the big things that you have to watch out for when you're doing real estate, they won't let you go do what China did in the banks. If you do what China did right now, you'll end up in prison, for sure. You get indicted, you'll go to court, and you will get imprisonment time for indictment for commingling of funds and for money laundering and so forth and so on. They'll hit you with 5 or 6 different charges. You'll get indicted for 5 or 6 different things, and you'll go to prison. Now, what happens to China? Well, I don't know. Who takes the burden of this financial burden? I think you and I take the burden of the financial burden. Not us as much as the Chinese people, the Chinese investors, the Chinese population that is invested in these funds. They're fucked. They're, I don't even know how they're going to get out of this. Are they going to? They've been trying to take over the world power, and they've been trying to make the Chinese yen, they've been trying to make it the #1 currency in the world, which if you guys look historically, China has dominated the world power for many, many, many years. The United States, as strong as we think we are, we have not dominated the world power for as long as you guys think we have. And so when you go back and you look at history, China has dominated, and they're trying to take it back over again. But this could be our savior. As bad as the United States is being ran right now, and as much bullshit as we have going on with our central banking systems, it's not even a margin as close to what's happening in China. And so I wanted to bring you guys a little update on that. Keep an eye out on it. Is it something that should alarm you right now? No, I don't think it's good. I think we're going to feel a ripple effect. I think we will feel the effects of it. And I think that some our financial institutions that are invested in China are going to feel the ripple effects from it. That's where we'll find it. If our banks get hit and our banks take a financial hit, lending gets a little bit tougher to get, and the parameters for lending become a little bit more excruciating. So for those of you guys getting traditional financing, don't know how to raise capital, it's going to be a little bit more work to get these loans. Your assets have to be better, more desirable assets for them to invest in. And banks put a little bit more parameters on stuff like they did in 2009, 10, 11, 12, and then they loosen up a little bit over time. But to prevent that, one of the big things that we teach is multiple ways of generating capital. So, you know, we do some private money stuff. We do some syndications and raising capital. It's a great way to offset some of this, but still, shopping real estate and having good assets to invest in is key. It's number one. We function on an affordable housing model because, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think there's a housing issue in this country, an affordable housing model at that, an affordable housing crisis at that, you're sadly mistaken. It's been publicized, and even mainstream media is much bullshit as they pump out. It's true. There's a housing crisis, and affordable housing is needed, and everything that we do in the multifamily space surrounds around affordable housing models. Now, we don't compress our properties by putting rent limitations on them, so we don't go in and exercise the full affordable housing model certified by a municipality, but we go in and compete against B rents. We go and build an A-class apartment, low amenitized, and we're solving a massive problem. And so that's the type of stuff China should have been investing in instead of playing Ponzi schemes with, and I call it Ponzi schemes. It's very similar to a Ponzi scheme, whatever you want to call it. I mean, to me, my personal opinion is it's a Ponzi scheme, right? The country is running under a Ponzi scheme. Some people are saying, Jerome, you're calling China a Ponzi scheme. If the shoe fits, right? It is what it is. And so I tell you guys that if our governmental agencies, China, America, European, doesn't matter where, Canadian, if they ran like a business, mass majority of them will be bankrupt and out of business. They're very unsuccessful, non-affluent, entrepreneurial type politicians running these countries. And if they functioned on the same entrepreneurial guidelines of profit and loss and EBITDA is the same way you and I have to function off of, most countries would be bankrupt and out of business. That's all I got to say. And if the same laws that are governed for you and I individually were governed for our municipal leaders in the country that are making decisions on banking laws and so forth, they'd be in prison, a lot of them, because it's the same stuff that you and I would get indicted for otherwise. So as controversial as the subject is, more so than anything, what you need to take out of this video is that, yes, there are issues in China. And I think to the grace of the United States, that China has some work to do before they take over the world power. If they're able to clean this up, which I don't know how they're going to do it, but if they're able to clean this up, they still have the ability to do it, but it's going to take them longer. And I don't know if they have that ability to do it. And even if they do, you know, we're still the leading power right now. So all of you guys, and one of the strongest things, I don't know if the U.S. has ever had the #1 strongest economy. We sell people that we do, but the one thing that the United States does have, and I will say this, is capitalism. We are one of the best countries, if not the best, which I think we're the best, that gives us the ability to ride our free enterprise system. And there's no country that allows for capitalism like the United States. So God bless America for that, because that's my life and that's my world, and it has been since 1993. And I know a lot of you guys that subscribe and listen to our content on our YouTube channel, you guys advocate for the same damn thing. So God bless America and the country that we do live in spite of who holds the world power. We live in one of the best capitalistic countries in the world. So just watch, keep an eye out for what happens in China. Watch and read about how it affects our central banking system. That's the key right there, is how it affects our central banking system. That's what we need to watch out for over the course of time, as everything that's happening in China right now, as it unfolds. That's what we need to watch. How much of our banks how much of their money is invested in China, and that will depict how we're affected. Now, I don't know what that number is. We have some speculative numbers. I will bring you guys, I'll do some research and data to find out a little bit more information and get some reputable sources to know and find out what those numbers are. And so click and subscribe. I'll bring you guys some of those numbers in another video. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm as curious as you are to see what happens in China, and keep following our content. I'll keep bringing you guys footage. Thank you guys. God bless. Go out and make it a great day and compound your success.